What the heck? I don't know how to work this crap. I don't even see nobody.
Miss Murphy, you can just mute yourself until the judge comes on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. This is Clayton County State Court. This is the jail arraignment and probation calendar for September 27th of 2022. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward, and we're going to call the calendar. The attorneys will respond on behalf of their clients if their individual is represented. If they're not represented, when the attorneys go into the breakout room, they'll be able to ask if that individual needs representation. Ezekiel Maurice Calhoun. Mr. Calhoun does not appear to have counsel.
Your Honor, we've actually spoken with Mr. Calhoun. I believe we may have been appointed in MAC court. It just may not have followed. That appointment may not have followed. However, we do have some concerns about needing a possible evaluation. So if I could have some time at some point during the calendar just to verify that with him.
Okay. All right, no problem. Damone Richard Davis.
Your Honor, can I ask who is representing this state today?
Looks like Ms. Ponder.
Good morning, Your Honor. Shabria Ponder for the
Yes,
state.
good.
And also we have Ms. Sawana Jambier as well representing the state, but I have Mr. Davis Fowl.
Yes, I just need the conference of the state on Mr. Davis.
Okay. Dwayne Deans. This is a petition.
Yes, so I could just have a brief conference with Mr. Austin.
Okay, no problem.
Keon Taquan Desir.
Your Honor, I attempted a couple of times to visit Mr. Desir, but I couldn't get in touch. But I need to speak to the state as well before I speak to Desir.
Okay, is this Ms. Ponder's case or Ms.
Your
Wilson?
Honor, we both can be in the breakout room. You can put us together.
All right. Who else am I looking for, Ms. Ponder? I'm sorry. I'm looking
Ms.
to.
Sawana Jambier.
Oh, Sawana Jambier. Okay. All righty. Jabari Alray Dillon. I don't have, no one's representing Mr. Dillon unless Lister Holton Dennis has been appointed.
Your Honor, we do not represent Dylan, but I spoke to him and he wants representation.
Okay.
And he wants to plead nolo to counts 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. And Troy Anthony Mayo.
Your Honor, I'll need a conference with Mayo. I tried jail visits a couple of times, but I could not get in touch.
Okay. All right. So Deputy, since we have a plea for Dylan, let's go ahead and get that plea, and then we'll do the breakout room for the jail and for the attorneys to speak with the state.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to let you know all the inmates are here and they're ready. So whenever.
Okay, can we have Dylan right now? And then I'm gonna put the attorneys in a breakout room so they can speak to the remainder of the inmates.
All right.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dillon? Raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Dillon, you can put your hand down. You're before the court, Jabari Alray Dillon, 2022 CR 00756. Mr. Kamani, your attorney has indicated you wish to enter a plea of no-low to speeding, 21 to 25 over, improper lane change, and distracted driving. By entering a no-low plea to these offenses, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
Actual basis and recommendation, please.
Your Honor. On November the 10th, 2021, officers from the area of Rex Road and Evans Drive, located here in Clayton County, Georgia, when officers observed a GMC white and color Envoy detected speed 64 in a 40-mile-per-hour zone using a radar. Officers did observe that the defendant was looking for a cell phone, and while doing so, failed to maintain his lane. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor.
All right. Recommendation?
The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 10 days credit for time served, balance suspended, no further violations of the law. And that's for both counts to run concurrent.
Okay, so Mr. Kamani indicated he was entering a no-low plea to all three, but it sounds like the state is no-processing one of them. Which one would the state be no-processing?
The state will be moving to no-process distracted driving, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, so the court will accept the no-process for distracted driving. And Mr. Dillon, I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served, balance suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia, and that will be concurrent for both cases. Okay, so you're free to go at this time if you have no holds from any other jurisdiction. All right. All right, so at this time, I'm going to set up the breakout rooms. Ms. Bermudez, I don't think anyone needs you. Is there anyone who needs Ms. Bermudez's services before we go into breakout?
No.
No, Your Honor.
From the state,
All right,
Your Honor.
thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, and Deputy, you can send Mr. Dillon back. He's done. He's going to be released today.
Okay.
All right, thank
Your
you.
Honor,
Yes.
he has a violation of probation pending, so.
Oh, for me?
No, from another.
Oh, I said if he didn't have any other.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so yes, sir.
You can go back to the dorm?
Yeah, he can go back. Thank you. He's released on my case.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, just go around.
All right. And I'm going to set up the breakout rooms, and I understand that Mr. Taylor and Ms. Ponder and Ms. Janvier need a breakout room, and I'm going to put Mr. Kamani in that breakout room also, so that he can discuss. I think he had one case too.
Your
Yes.
Honor, if Mr. Kamani wants to discuss with the state first, I could go into a breakout with Mr. Austin.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Taylor and Mr. Austin are going to be in breakout room number 2. Ms. Ponder and Ms. Janvier and Mr. Kamani are going to be in breakout room number 1. And when they come back, we'll put the attorneys in the breakout room with the jail. Ms. Gross, did you need to be in the breakout room with the jail? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, so I can talk to Mr. Calhoun.
All right. And then breakout room number 1, 2, breakout room number 3, Ms. Gross and Mr. And the jail, I'm sorry. That way she can speak with her client.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all of the individuals are going into breakout rooms, which means they'll be speaking privately. And when they come back to the main room, we'll move forward with the cases.
Your Honor, is Mr. Kwani and the state still in the same room?
Yeah, did you want to go into that room?
Yes, please.
Okay. All righty.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Kamani?
Can you put me in a breakout room with the jail, please?
Yes. Okay.
Your Honor, if you could add me to the jail room, please.
No problem. One moment. Ms. Gross, did you have an announcement or did you need something else?
I have an announcement, Your Honor, now that Ms. Ponder's back. We are going to need to do an evaluation on Mr. Calhoun. So we'll get that filed within the next couple of days.
All right, then I'll move Mr. Calhoun to calendar maybe 2 weeks out.
Okay, that'd be perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I believe that's all I have. Can I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good seeing you.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Kamani?
can you please put me in a breakout room with Ms. Ponder, if you don't mind,
Yes.
please? Thank you.
Ms. Ponder is in breakout room number 1. Mr. Kamani, I'll put you back in breakout room number 1. Ms. Janvier, if you want to go back in, you may.
I have announcements, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Davis would like to enter a negotiated guilty plea to disorderly conduct.
Okay,
And Mr. Deans would like to enter a stipulated admission to the technicals.
okay. All right. Any other announcements?
Yes, Your Honor. For Desir Kian, he wants to plead guilty. And from Mayor Troy, he wants to plead nolo to counts 1 and 2.
All right. Deputy Calhoun is going to be continued for 2 weeks, so you can send them back. And we'll take Davis.
All right,
Thank you.
Davis. Davis. Who's Calhoun? You go back.
Mr. Davis, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2020 CR 04317 for Damone Richard Davis, disorderly conduct. Your attorney has indicated you wish to enter a plea of guilty. By entering the plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Factual basis and recommendation, please, Ms. Jean-Pierre.
Wait a minute, huh?
Ms. Jean-Pierre, is this your
Yes,
case?
this woman, I apologize.
Oh, no problem.
All right, so on May 26th, Mr. Davis sit into the room with the victim. She'd asked him to leave the room. He did make intentional physical contact with her and put his finger on her nose. She did not give him permission to touch her. The state is recommending 12 months probation, drug and alcohol with evaluation and testing, and no contact with the victim.
Ms. Janvier, is the suspension after 6 months of no positive test still?
Yes, and 6 months the balance be suspended 6 months with no positive tests.
Thank you.
Okay, who's the alleged victim in the case?
Her name is Georgia Kabah, Kabbah.
What's her first name? I'm sorry.
Georgia.
I'm sorry?
Georgia, Geor.
Georgia, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Anything else on behalf of your client, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Davis is a self-employed contract carpenter. And as to his failure to appear before, I just wanted to say Mr. Davis did not purposefully make himself unavailable to the court. It appears that there was a mix-up with which address got written down, and he tells me he called often up to the clerk's office to try and get that corrected, but he stopped calling after one of his two sons was killed in an unrelated incident. But he has a way, he has a way and plans to materially improve his life. He is not going to, I do not foresee any conflicts with this alleged victim in the future.
All right, Mr. Davis, I'm going to accept your plea of guilty to disorderly conduct. I'm going to sentence you to 12 months probation to take a substance abuse evaluation and any treatment that might be ordered. During the course of the probation, you're to have no alcohol or drugs, illicit drugs. You'll be screened randomly for alcohol or drugs. If you do not test positive for alcohol or illicit drugs during the first 6 months of your probation, then your probation will be suspended after that and it will become non-reporting. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're to, like I said, you're to have no contact with Georgia Kaba. So, sir, no contact means that if you have any contact with this individual, you could have your probation sentence turned into a jail sentence for the remainder of the time, or you could be charged with additional misdemeanors or a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, or both. If Ms. Kaba calls you or contacts you in any way, keep a record of it, and you may wish to share that with your attorney, but do not respond in any way. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Your
All right.
Honor, was that no contact or no violent contact?
I had no contact. Are they in a relationship?
Miss Janvier,
I
the
believe
offer I
he's
have
in
says
the
no
home.
violent.
Yeah, no violent.
Okay, so
I
sir, you'll
believe they
have
lived or once lived together, not
You'll
in a
have-
relationship, but same house.
no violent or harassing contact with Ms. Kaba, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You can go back to the sheriff.
Excuse me, may I ask a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. You have probation. Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. I'm gonna, the jail is gonna go into into the breakout room with probation, so that Mr. Davis can speak with Mrs. Thomas. Mr. Davis, Mrs. Thomas is gonna explain everything that you need to know about probation. Ask her any questions that might be helpful to you successfully completing, okay? All right, and when the jail, when Mr. Davis is finished, the jail can come back. Thank you.
I haven't received the invite yet for the breakout room, Your Honor. Thank you, I see it now. Breakout room, Your Honor.
All right. Next is Mr. Dwayne Dean. Mr. Deans, raise your right hand for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Deans, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Dwayne Deans, 2021 CR 02175. You were before this court for simple assault, family violence, and obstructing an officer on the 11th day of November 2021, and you were sentenced to 12 months on probation. Your sentence wasn't told. You have 1 month and 7 days remaining, and this is your second hearing. You failed to avoid injurious and vicious habits. You've tested positive for the metabolites of alcohol. You failed to report on June 15th, June 29th, July 11th, July 15th, July 29th, and August 15th, all of 2022. You last reported to probation on September 19th of 2022. You failed to report with counseling. To comply with counseling, I'm sorry, you were supposed to attend 2 AA or NA meetings per week, and you failed to pay. Mr. Taylor, anything on behalf of your client?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Just that we'd ask that you follow the recommendation of probation.
Mr. Austin, what is probation's recommendation in this case?
Your Honor, the recommendation is 30 days to serve and close this case out.
All right. So, Mr. Deans, what have you been doing, sir?
Been working and taking care of my kids. That's it. I mean, I obviously failed the alcohol test, and I've been attending my meetings, but on my way to turn myself in, I forgot to bring my AA meeting sheets. I reached out to my family to try to get them to send them down, but they couldn't get a hold of them. I left them at my grandmother's house, my address, in Decatur.
How many kids do you have, sir?
I got 6.
All right, so Mr. Deans, you're really gonna have to stay off the alcohol, sir, because alcohol keeps putting you in jail, and you don't have time to be in jail. You got 6 kids to take care of.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, obviously there's a problem, because anytime alcohol ingestion ends you up in jail, you got a problem. Like, I've never been in jail for alcohol, thank God. Most of the people on this call have never been in jail for alcohol, but it keeps putting you in jail. So that should tell you something. So the meetings help, but you got to be diligent about not drinking.
Yes, ma'am.
When you think about drinking, you ought to go to a meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think? Am I just talking at you, or do you understand that there's a problem?
I understand, ma'am.
Okay, because until you get help, you're not gonna be able to take care of 6 kids.
You're right.
All right, sir. So I'm gonna have, I'm gonna order that you have 30 days revoked. After the service of 30 days, your case shall be closed. How long has Mr. Deans been in?
He was taken into custody on, I believe, last Tuesday, which was the Monday, which was September the 19th.
Okay, so I'll give you credit since the date of lockup. All right. All right, so I'm gonna send this over. Mr. Deans, you can go back with the sheriff's office, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
He's done for the day, Your Honor.
Yes, he can go back.
All
All
right.
right.
I got all your stuff.
Next up is Desir.
All right.
I need to hear you.
Yep.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true? You can put your hand down now, sir. Okay, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Keon Taekwon Desir, 2022 CR 04866 for criminal trespass. You're represented by attorney Kamani. Mr. Kamani is with you here, and he has indicated that you wish to enter a plea of guilty to criminal trespass.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. By entering the plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
All
right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September the 14th, 2022, officers responded to 940 Silverwood Drive located here in Clayton County, Georgia. When officers arrived on scene, they made contact with the caller, later identified as the victim in this case, Miss Fatima Murphy. Miss Murphy, after speaking with officers, Miss Murphy did indicate that there was a verbal altercation in which she had with her adult son, later identified as the defendant before you. In addition, there was information given to law enforcement officers that the defendant did damage the vehicle with a metal pole by shattering or severely damaging her windshield. She also did indicate to officers that the damages were photographed and attached to the report. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor.
All right. Recommendation?
The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is 12 months to serve 13 days. It's my understanding that he has served those 13 days in custody. Balance probated to complete a mental health evaluation and any recommended treatment, and to have no violent or harassing contact with Miss Fatima Murphy. Also, Your Honor, just so that the court is placed on notice, Miss Fatima Murphy is present this morning on today's Zoom call.
All right, Ms. Murphy, do you wish to make a statement at this time?
Yes.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Go ahead and tell me what you need me to know, ma'am.
I don't wish to proceed with charges against him. I just lost my mother, so all of us was very emotional and arguing and going through things. I know it was wrong what he did. I know it was wrong what he did, but I don't wish to proceed with the charges. We was going through a whole lot, and he was just upset. I did not wish to seek restitution either for the busted window.
Okay, Miss Murphy, let's talk. How old is your son?
He's 20.
Okay, and he's still living with you?
He lives with my husband. That was my husband's residence. Me and my husband is separated, so we have two different residents.
Okay. All right. So what is Mr. Desir doing?
Far as what?
Work, home, live. I mean, like anything. 20 years old.
He had a 6-month-old baby, 6 or 7-month-old baby. He been trying to get a job. I've been taking him around to the jobs. And we just got into a small.
Miss Murphy, let's stop. Why are you taking a 20-year-old around to look for a job?
No, he would ask me for a ride to get to the job interviews. Because he don't have a job right now to be able to get on the bus and go to the job. So I was taking him to the interviews.
Where's the baby?
The baby is with the mom right now.
Well, who was taking him to go get the mama pregnant? Like, who was taking him on dates and stuff?
He took himself.
Okay, so if he can take himself on dates and produce a baby he ain't got no money to take care of, he can find a job. The problem I'm seeing in society, nope, Miss Murphy, the problem I'm seeing in society today is we are coddling these young men and we are raising daughters. Daughters have to get out there and work. Daughters have to go and make sure they're responsible. Daughters have to get good grades. Boys, they can leave, come back, they can get in trouble, go not be in trouble. Mama's gonna always be trying to bail them out. He's bringing children into the world that he can't afford to take care of, and you running him around talking about he gonna get a job. You didn't run him around to get the baby.
I understand.
You dropped him off at the girl house to get him to get her pregnant.
I understand what you're saying, Your Honor, but the man is trying. If somebody is going to a
and that's what he not trying, because if he was getting up going to a job interview on MARTA, he'd be trying. The reason you're here is because we are coddling these men. We are coddling them, Miss Murphy. You don't have no standards for him. What's your standard? He done messed up your car, caused a commotion, got involved with the police. And you say he trying. What's your standards from him? Because you got to hold people responsible. You got to have the standards for people. If he don't have no standards, if he don't have nothing he responsible for, you know what we're going to be doing? Next year, we're going to be in the same situation, only he going to have 3 babies. Now, he can somehow manage to find a woman who's willing to have a baby with him, but he don't have no job, and he's got his mama running around taking him places, and then he going to throw a big adult tantrum and mess up your car. But you okay with it?
But you saying
because he tried.
A person that's going to an interview.
Miss Murphy, I am not saying he's not trying. I'm saying you are coddling him. He can get on a bus. He can walk. He managed to go and get somebody pregnant and have a baby that he can't take care of. But he did all that before he went and got a job. What I'm saying is we need to stop coddling these men. That's why they keep ending up in jail. That's why I got a whole mass of people, 19, 20, 21, 22. Where you live? With my mama. Well, whose house did you mess up? My mama's. Whose car did you mess up? My mama's. Do you have a job? Not yet. You know, I'm trying. Standards. Until we hold people to some standards, until we hold these young men to some standards and make them responsible. When did you get your first job, Miss Murphy?
When I was 16.
Okay. He 20. And you still try. Did your mama take you around the interview at 16?
Yes, she did.
Okay. But at 16, you had a job.
Mm-hmm. He had a job too. He just got to find another one. Stuff happens in life.
I get
I'm
that,
not
Miss
saying
Murphy.
that he ain't wrong for what he did, but I'm telling you that he's really trying.
Okay. Where's the jail?
You say what now?
Hold on. Mr. Desir,
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
have no more babies until you have a stable job and you've been on your job for some time. Do you understand? You just creating people for somebody else to take care of. Where's your baby living?
Your Honor, may I speak?
No, I'm asking you a question. Yeah, I want you to speak. Answer my question. Where's your baby living?
With my with the mother,
And where's the mother living?
with her mom.
So you have made a baby for somebody else's mama to take care of.
No, ma'am.
Okay, well then if you taking care of her, she wouldn't be living with her mama.
I was switching jobs because we just moved locations to my dad's spot, my stepdad, and basically since we wasn't in Conyers no more, I had to.
So you had an apartment or a house for your child and the baby's mama.
Yeah, I had a set plan, man.
You had what?
I had a set plan, man.
You had set who?
A set plan.
No, I'm not talking about a plan because you already had the baby. Where was the mama and the baby living? Where they been living since the baby was born?
We was living in the house, man, with her father.
So yet again, somebody's mama or daddy got to take care of you and your child.
It wasn't just we were living with him, we were paying rent, man.
Mr. Desir, don't have no more babies until you get a stable job and you can take care of yourself. You hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, sir, I'm going to sentence you to 12 months to do 13 days credit for time served. The balance will be probated. You're going to take a mental health evaluation, and you're to have no violent or harassing contact with your mother. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
She's not asking for restitution, but she's out some money for the damage you did. So let that play on your heart when you get your job. We clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
And please, I say again, don't have no more babies until you stable and you can take care of yourself and provide a place for a mother and a baby to live, not them having to live with their mom.
Yes, Your Honor.
We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody want to have a baby and then they trying afterwards, yet that baby is living with the mama who's living with the grandmama. That grandmama don't want no baby in their house. All right.
Your Honor, will you be willing to waive the probation supervision fee? He does not have a job.
Yeah, he don't have no job. So yeah, where he gonna get the money from? Except his mama. And I'm not gonna have him asking her money for supervision. So I'll waive that.
That's crazy.
Ms. Murphy, I know you don't like my tough love, but your son wouldn't be here if somebody hadn't put some standards on him before.
I understand, but that's like downing somebody. But it's
I'm not
okay.
downing somebody. But what we fail to do is realize people have standards. You have to set a standard for a person or they're not going to live up to anything. Now, somehow Mr. Desir, somehow Mr. Desir thought it was okay to go out and have a baby without having a job and a stable home to bring a baby to. Where's the standard for that? Where's the responsibility? Until you set a standard for people, they're just going to do what they think is okay. So until you let him know that it's not okay for you to have babies and not be stable yourself, then the next time you gonna be another grandmama of 2, 3, 4, 5.
I already got 5 grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Think about it. Think about that. How old are you? I don't even want to know your age because I know you probably half of my age.
Probably.
You're a lot younger than me. I don't have 5 grandchildren. Gotta set standards,
okay.
man.
I love all 5 of them, brother.
Ma'am, nobody said you didn't love them. Nobody said you didn't love them.
Okay. Well, they hear is what God.
But African-American children live in poverty more because we bring them into the world in poverty. We're not established when we bring babies into the world. We just say, oh, somebody will take care of them. So I want you to think about that. Think about what they deserve, not how much you love them. Think about what they deserve when they come into this world. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say on that. All right, so Mr. Desir, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. Mrs. Thomas is going to explain what you need to do for probation. If you successfully complete the probation, you won't have to talk to me again. But please remember what I said. If you bring a baby into this world, you got to be responsible for that baby.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
just ain't about creating a baby, but it's about making sure that baby has a home, a place to live. Because I mean, I'll see it on the other end when the mama's coming looking for child support too, and you got an abandonment warrant. So that's what I'm trying to prevent. All right. So I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. Once Mrs. Thomas is finished speaking with you, you can go back with the sheriff's office.
Will it
So
be
is
breakout room 6?
Yes. Thank you. All right, Miss Murphy. I wish you well.
Is he getting released, ma'am?
If he has done the 13 days, yeah, it says credit for time served, so he should be released.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
You have a good day. Okay.
I'm back from the breakout room, yeah.
All right. Next is Mayo.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, come on.
Mr. Mayo,
Yes, ma'am.
raise your right hand for me, sir. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So, sir, you're before the court on 2022 CR 04831. Your attorney, Mr. Kamani, has indicated that you wish to enter a plea of nolo to counts 1 and 2. By doing so, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have a presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things? All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Your Honor, and just so that it's clear for the record, the state did not agree to a nolo plea.
Okay.
For Mr. Mayo's case. And so I just want that the record to reflect that it was a guilty plea.
Okay.
To count 1, simple battery, family violence, and count 2, the state is moving, that count will actually merge into count 1.
All right. Mr. Kamani, any
Your
words?
Honor, he will enter into a guilty plea.
All right. So the plea is amended to guilty. Okay, Ms. Ponder.
Yes, Your Honor. On September the 6th, 2022, officers responded to 55 Daniel Drive, Stockbridge, Georgia, located here in Clayton County, Georgia, in reference to a disturbance call. When officers arrived on scene, they made contact with several individuals. Also, one being the victim in this case, Amanda Chaney, spelled Amanda, the normal spelling, and then Chaney, Chaney. Officers also spoke with a Zachary Wilson, who indicated that he saw the victim and the defendants, later identified as Mr. Mayo, as Mr. Mayo did walk up behind the victim and slap her on the right side of her face with an open hand. Officers, however, did not observe any bruising or swelling. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor.
Recommendation?
The state's recommendation, Your Honor, based on Mr. Mayo's criminal history and also the facts of the case, the state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 90 days. Balance suspended on the condition that he has no contact with Amanda Chaney. It's my understanding that he has served 25 days. He's only have served 25 days and we need to do the remaining days in custody.
Okay. Mr. Kamani?
Nothing further.
How does Mr. Mayo know Ms. Chaney?
Your Honor, I believe it says Mr. Mayo, is Miss Chaney your girlfriend?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we just open hand slapping people, Mr. Mayo?
I don't even gonna do nothing like that. That's why I said I want to play nolo, because that's made up shit. I mean, it's made up.
Okay.
That's why
All right. Let me ask you this, Mr. Mayo. Do you and Ms. Chaney intend to be together when you get out of here?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. Because there's a no contact provision. So I'll send you to 12 months to serve, 90 days, balance suspended as long as you have no contact with Amanda Chaney. I'll give you credit since the date of lockup. If Ms. Chaney contacts you, you can keep a record of it, but you're not to respond. If you have contact with Ms. Chaney, then you're subject to having your probation, your suspended sentence revoked, and you could be back in jail for the remainder of the 12 months. You could also be charged with additional misdemeanors or felonies. So I would suggest that you have no contact, no one have any contact on your behalf with Ms. Chaney, okay?
That's right.
All right. Anything else?
All
right. All right. You can go back with the sheriff's office. All right. Is there anything else that we need to discuss today on the calendar or any other matters?
Yeah. Your Honor.
Yes.
This is Mr. Austin. Did you see my
I did. I sent it back. Did you get it? Or did it not come through again?
Let me verify. Yes, I have.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
I don't know what it is, but it's like if I send it to the string of people, y'all tell me to send it to. So if you see somebody who's missing on that, just forward it to them. Okay, thank you.
all right,
Your,
thank you, Your Honor.
look like your signature didn't capture it on the judge.
It didn't? Look at
No,
it
ma'am.
again, Mr. Austin.
Mr. Austin, do you see a signature?
Yes, I do, at the bottom.
You got it, Ms. Val?
No signature on my copy, but if Mr. Austin got a signature, okay, I see it. I got it.
Okay, all right then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. I'm still signing. If you need anything signed, please let me know. I'm in the office.
Thank you.